This is the 2024 Kia EV9. Is it the best mid-size three-row EV? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. And in today's Vehicle Visionary video, we're going to take a good close look at this model and tell you all about it. And I'm going to tell you some of the interesting things that you can have, or you may not want them, depending on what you want to spend. So let's take a quick look at this model. Now, normally I would tell you that there's a link down in the description to buy this vehicle or to the dealership's website. A friend of mine just bought this, so can't do that for you. In fact, it actually came from out of town, but that's okay. Let's take a look anyway. You can obviously go to your local Kia dealership and find out more. LED lighting everywhere you look. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. And here's one of those places where you can save some money. Right here. This is a really cool thing. It's going to be on both sides of the front end, obviously, but you can actually change the design if you want to. Kia will sell you the setup to do that, or I don't know if they program it or how they do it, but they basically will sell it to you, and you can change this for, I think it's $200. I think I'll pass. And you have the active shutters right here. I don't know if they're going to close for me, but they're open right now, as you can see. So that's going to help to keep your liquid-cooled battery cool. And obviously with an EV, there's a big issue that comes with aerodynamics and reducing drag. And so that's why you'll have active air curtains and your shutters and all of that up here. That's also why you have the wheel design on this particular model. Now, this model comes with 21-inch wheels. I'm not sure how easily I can show that to you. I was going to try and show you where this is on one of the tires. I'm just being lazy as far as where the numbers are, but down here, if you can read upside down, you'll see it says 21 right there. But some people are going to say, no, that doesn't come with 21-inch wheels. It can, based on options. But obviously the wheels are a little bit different, common for EVs because obviously, again, aerodynamics. Now, one thing that's interesting here is if you're not a fan of gloss black, well, you probably shouldn't buy one of these models because it's everywhere, literally. On the front end, on the back end, on the sides here, it's everywhere. Gloss black mirror caps. But the one thing I know people won't complain about is the fact that you have your turn signal indicators built in to these power adjustable side view mirrors. And you'll also find your roof rails up there to help out. You can get the crossbars and help to carry more cargo or whatever you need. And then we'll work our way around here to the rear. And notice something different. You have this sloping line right here with your rear roof spoiler. Again, aerodynamics, that's purposeful. It's not just there to look nice, but it's there to be functional. And no rear window wiper exposed in this area. I like the fact that it's concealed up here. Just cleans things up nicely. LED taillights finishing things out here. And if there was ever a vehicle that was perfect for this freshly redesigned as of a couple of years ago Kia logo, I think this is it. More of that gloss black is going to be found back here. But just as what we saw with the side doors, you have a little bit of a breakup down here. Now, let's talk about something that I think is very interesting. The exterior color on this model is ivory silver. That sounds kind of nice, kind of high-end, doesn't it? If you look on the window sticker, what it says about the interior is that it's just brown and black. And a quick look at the remote. Instead of having the buttons on the face of the remote, they're on the side. You can see what all is here. There is remote start. And when we lock the vehicle, not only do the power folding mirrors fold in under power, but your flush-mounted door handles also go back into place. And you know why that is like that based on what I told you earlier in the video. Now, let's take a look into our front trunk area. We're going to hit this button twice. That's why it says ×2 right there, as you can see. And gaining access to the front trunk or the frunk is made a lot easier because you don't have to go hunting around for any kind of a release in this area like you would with a lot of vehicles. Now, I will have to say I'm a little disappointed that there's not more space up here. It seems like there should be, but there isn't. But when it shuts, just the way that shuts, it doesn't have that real cheap kind of tinny sound, and that's a good thing. And don't worry, I didn't forget to tell you about the range. I was saving that, just hoping that you're sitting down, because some of you might be a little disappointed in that number. You'll have to tell me in the comments what you think. 270 miles is the estimated range on this model. And towing capacity, 2,000 pounds up to as much as 5,000 pounds is what Kia says. Not really sure that I'd tow with an EV, but everybody is welcome to try whatever they want. But that obviously will deplete your charge capacity much faster. And 20.1 up to 80.7 cubic feet of cargo capacity. You can see what all is back here as far as your different features and functionality. You can obviously lower the seats and all that good stuff from back here. You can lower all of the seats, and there's quite a bit in here right now. Just kind of nice that you can see what's here. And in case you wanted to see everything in action, I'm going to push the button. All you have to do is just give it one press and the seats go down per button. Now you will have to manually raise those seats back up. And a couple of power options back here. Let's see if we can get this open. Here is your power outlet right here. And we'll also find the 12-volt power outlet here. Now you can close this rear lift gate with that button that I just showed you right there. But here's something interesting. I don't think this is going to be too high for anybody, but maybe you're parking somewhere where it is. If you want to reset the height of the rear door, pull it down or push it up into the position that you want. Hold down the button and listen for the beeps. It does take a few seconds, but what you'll see is when I open the door back up, it's going to stop at the position where I just set it. So a very simple thing, nothing unusual. This is actually very common with vehicles that have these power rear lift gates like this. But in case you are curious about that, don't go looking in the front seat area or in the infotainment screen for a setting on the positioning of this rear door. And one thing that should not come as a surprise to anybody is the fact that you're going to have a tire repair kit. No spare tire with this model. So if you were wondering, well, yeah, it's just the way it is. That's just part of owning an EV. And let's take a look into this brown and black interior. Fancy names for the interior colors, right? So, a nice large armrest right here. Plenty of real estate for your middle row passengers to comfortably put their arms. Door bin size, a little bit small for a mid-size crossover like this, but that's what you have. So, the good thing here, nothing unusual, is the fact that you have a seat or seats that you can move back and forth. And gaining access to the back seat area is as simple as just pushing a button like that, and the seat automatically gets up and out of the way. And in the third row, there's seating for two, probably two kids, more than adults. Although here on the passenger side, I have the seat all the way back. So let's see how things work when I slide over here to the driver's side. Well, definitely increased leg space. I don't know how likely it is that somebody's going to be sitting in the middle row with the seats this far forward. I guess rear seat passengers could actually put their legs right there like that, kind of stretch out a little bit. But there are also a couple of different ways to get things up and out of the way. You can do that and the seat will get up and out of the way. There's also a button right up here on the top. But we're not finished back here just yet. There are a couple of cup holders and a USB option. And the air conditioning vents located here in the roof area. That's going to be the same with the second and third row of seats. And then one other thing that I thought was a little interesting here is the fact that you have the armrests right here that, well, they're kind of interesting. And there are a couple of things to talk about here in this rear seating area, in the middle row seats, I should say. Number one, you can actually have a seat that goes all the way across, kind of a bench style seat. So that is available. You can also have the captain's chairs that recline and have the footrest right here and all that good stuff. Not here on this particular model. So it's not a standard feature in case anybody was wondering. And taking a look here at the sunroof in the rear area, which is going to be a little larger than what we have in the front. You do have a power shade for that. And then to control the air conditioning and everything to do with that, it's going to be up here on the roof. By the way, this is Alcantara, so a little bit of a high-end touch here with this model. Rear cup holders on the rear of the center console, and then right down here we have this area, which is very interesting. Space within for, well, whatever anybody wants to store in there, but there is that space. That's nice to have. Now you'll notice there's no air conditioning vents back here, but just like we saw in the rear seating area, we also have those up here in the roof, so pretty easy to deal with. There's the oh crap handles, and we'll also find that our USB ports are here in the seats. Nothing unusual for Kias, but those are there. And how about the numbers for this model? 379 horsepower, 516 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 on this long range version. A surprising 4.5 seconds. That's not too bad. And the biggest numbers of all. Charge time. Obviously this model will come with your charging cable that you'll need to hook up. On a DC fast charger, we are looking at 10% to 80% in 24 minutes. Sometimes you hadn't even had a chance to order your food, depending on how good the service is at a restaurant in that time. And you can be fully recharged when you're out on the road or wherever you are. Now, the one question that I want to hear about, that people are going to ask, I want you to tell me what your answer is to this. The range, 270 miles. A little bit low possibly? Well, tell me what you think. I think in a real world situation that's going to be good for a lot of people, but it depends on a couple of things. Obviously, how far you're driving, for example. So what's your daily commute? So that's going to be a big determining factor. And another big question to answer here. How much would it cost if you bought this model? It is the GT-Line, obviously all-wheel drive, $74,735 as it sits. Let's see what else you get for that price. There's a lot of ambient lighting throughout the interior, very large armrests here with these front doors. And what's very interesting is the first time you open these doors, you might be a little surprised at how heavy they are. Interesting, but that's the case. But that's good durable, good materials, large door bins here, fairly large here for the front seat area. Obviously, you're going to have power seats, and these do recline. So the thing about it is you have to set everything up yourself here. There's a button on the driver's side you can push, and I'll show you that in just a minute, that reclines the seat so you can stop somewhere and take a nap if you wanted to. So very interesting. The EV9 logo there on the floor mats, and then we'll hop on inside here and see what else we have. You're going to have something that's traditional to all vehicles, a glove box. There it is. So if you're curious about that, that's what you have. And obviously you can see what all is right here. We have a pass-through, quite a bit of space here, kind of a floating console of sorts, as you can see right here. And it's nice that we have the water bottle stuffed in right here that lets you see how things fit there. Now this is kind of typical of Kia right here, where you can conceal those cup holders away if so desired. You can see some of your one-touch buttons right here, and the charging pad right here for the cell phone. And let's take a look within the center console. I'm going to close that door just to eliminate some of the noise. Now, not a ton of space in there, but keep in mind you have the space underneath. That makes a difference. So there is a lot of space here. Now, one thing that you won't find here, I told you earlier that this is a friend of mine's vehicle that he just bought. You'll notice where his sunglasses are over there, kind of stuffed into the armrest. You might, why didn't he put them in the sunglass holder? Well, because there isn't one, as you can see right there. So you can see some of the buttons and controls right there, and then you'll have your power sunroof right here that's conventional size in the front. It tilts and slides open, and you have your shade that you can put in place if you so desire to do so. And here on the driver's side door panel, well, everything you would likely expect to find. You can see all the different settings for the seat right here. And if you push this button, I guess you have to have the ignition turned on. Let's do that real fast. In fact, this is going to be an interesting thing to show. Where is that button to turn the ignition on? It's right here where it says EV. Everything is now on. This is the shifter, by the way. Not that unusual for Kia, but that's what we have. And let's see if we can get this to work now. So here's the button right here. Let's see if I just didn't I just didn't push it the right way is what it comes down to earlier, but I'm gonna let you see everything in action, and it looks like you may have to hold that down to get that to work. There we go. And so everything starts to come up and to go down as it needs to. Now you can actually lower the seat back even further, obviously, and actually really recline and take a nap. It's very interesting. I haven't seen too many vehicles that do this. So I'm going to hop in, and what will happen is everything will get in position to take full advantage of this. Oh my goodness. I might fall asleep while I'm right here, but see, there's my vantage point now. You can see what I'm seeing, and you can see that I'm pretty much laying flat here almost, but I could actually take a nap if I wanted to. And the steering wheel, well, kind of a unique look to it as well compared to a lot of other vehicles out there. It's not perfectly round, so I like that. It looks nice, it looks unique, typical of Kia. I like that, that's a good thing. And then obviously with the instrument cluster and everything that we have here with the infotainment screen, quite a bit going on. You can see that we have 204 miles of range, so that's a good thing. And you can also see right here, it even comes with the blinker option. And the cool thing about it, this is why you need to use your blinkers if you're driving around in one of these models that's equipped with these features. When you turn on your blinkers, you'll also see your blind spot on the appropriate side of the vehicle. You also control the exterior lighting here depending on what you want. You can see the different settings right there, so that makes things easy as well. You can adjust your regenerative braking here with the paddles. And up here, before we look at the screen, I do want to show you this. If you want to use the conventional style rear view mirror, you can, or there's your additional option. I really like using these cameras that are part of the mirror, or the mirrors that have the cameras built into it, because while it may take a little bit of getting used to, once you're used to it, you notice you have a much better view of everything that's going on around you. And you can see your screen here, very easy to deal with, simple to use. I like that. Everything here is wireless as far as connecting your phone and all of that use. A very nice setup here, that's for sure. And obviously, when you go into reverse, you get to see your different camera views here, including that overhead view right there. So that's always nice to see. And you also have the view right here where you can see all around the vehicle. So that's a nice thing to have, something you don't always see. You can go in and make some changes to your settings and whatever you need to do right there. But just so you can see what all is here, I'll show you the different views. Quite a bit going on where that's concerned. And I don't know how well you can hear the sound out there, but you actually do have sound. And real quick, before we get to more on the sound, here is your shifter. Nothing unusual for Kia, like I said earlier. That's what's there. Pretty simple to deal with. Overall, a very nice interior. It probably seems a little complicated, but once you learn everything, it really isn't that bad. And one more thing I did want to show. Let's go out of the screen so I can just show you how I got here. We're going to go to settings, and then we can go to vehicle right here. And there are a lot of different changes you can make. Driver assistance obviously is going to be here. If you want to change different settings on there and how all of that works. Drive mode, you can change right here. So depending on what you'd like to do, you can do that. How about active sound design? What exactly is that? And one more thing I want to show. I hope it shows up well on the screen. At least you can somewhat see that it's there. There is a head-up display here in addition to everything else I've shown you. Okay, I'm going to reach down here and turn everything on and let you see how it all looks in the dark, or as best as we can do. And you can see even the illuminated Kia logo here on the steering wheel where the horn button is. And you can see the ambient lighting, at least with the color that we have right now. Obviously you can go in and change that, but there's a lot going on here, not only in the front seat, but in the rear seat area as well. And I can give you a little bit better view of the head-up display, I think, from here. Let's see if we can maybe get that with the lights off. Maybe that will be a little bit better. It does have traffic sign recognition and all the different signs on the road as well. So quite a bit going on there, but we're not going to stop there. Let's take a look at the exterior as well. In fact, I'll give you a quick look here from this vantage point, and you can see that the interior lighting, as far as the map lights and all of that goes, really lights things up nicely, as well as you can see how far The turn signal indicators actually go here in the side view mirrors, so that's nice. Here's what the front end looks like, and you also can see those lights we were looking at earlier in this area. A lot of very nice features here. Something you don't normally see a lot of in these videos is going to be how everything looks after dark, or at least in a darker setting. Here is the rear. And one other thing I wanted to show is when I turn the vehicle off, so you can see the animated graphics that work across the screen. Just a little added value. It's something you'd be paying for, so I might as well show you. Okay, so we're out on the road for our test drive, and one thing I did not mention earlier in the video is the fact that the steering wheel is tilt and telescopically adjustable. So you may have seen the button for that on the left-hand side of the steering column, so it is power adjustable. You don't have to manually deal with that. So a lot of very nice features here. Really high-end, not something you might always associate with Kia. So what is it like to drive this EV9? Well, being that it's the long-range version, it's not going to be as quick, but still 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds is not particularly slow for the average person. But it's a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. I find that the ride quality is nice. You don't have cramped confines as the driver, so that's nice. Throughout really the entire vehicle, as far as at least the front and second row goes, the first and second rows. The third row, maybe a little bit. Obviously, you're going to have the least amount of space back there, but that's okay. We talked about that earlier. I showed you what's there earlier in the video, but a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. It's responsive to the touch of your control, I guess is a good way to put it. It has good steering characteristics, a nice turning radius. And it's pretty easy to see out of, but keep in mind, obviously you have the advantage of your blind spot monitoring, so that helps as well. But that's one thing I like about the roof line here, is that you do have a large rear window. So if you do choose to use the conventional style rear view mirror, well, then that's going to help as well. So you can still see really well, but if you have a couple of people sitting in that third row back there and they're tall enough, well, that is where this comes in nice and handy instead of using it as the conventional style. Overall, a really enjoyable vehicle to drive, practical for everyday driving around town. You can plan out your trips and do just fine, but obviously, if it was me, I would choose my gas-burning vehicle if I owned one over the EV in a case like that, just because, well, there are some challenges you can deal with when it comes to charging stations, depending on, number one, where you live and where you're traveling, because, well, there's going to possibly be fewer in some places than others, and you also have to consider whether or not they're accessible, whether they're being used when you get there, or if they're even working. So just little things to consider if you're buying an EV. Okay, tell me what you think. Is the 2024 Kia EV9 the best mid-size 3-row SUV EV? Always curious to know what your thoughts are. There's a lot of things going on here that I think really separate this model out from a lot of its competitors, but is it good enough? We'll find out. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friend Wesley for loaning this model, his new vehicle, for the day. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch and give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button, as that does help me out a lot. If you haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel just yet, please consider doing so. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.